Hello everybody, welcome back. I've been a bit neglectful of the wine, so I do apologise. But we're here. I did make a promise about doing something on the description words, so I'm working on it. I'm having a play with some of the NLP stuff, so bear with me, we'll be back on that. But what I thought would be really good to do this week is have a look at the wine reviews. So if I just quickly dive in, so if we go, I just realised I forgot to change the title. Just going to get rid of that title so we don't confuse. So if you cast your minds back many weeks ago, my goodness, I can't believe we've been doing this for quite a few weeks. And if you remember the data that we had, so here is, this is from week 1, I believe, so all of the data that you want. So if you want to have a look at what I've been doing, the write-up, the data model, the things we've been exploring with, all of that stuff. So you can find that on my GitHub repo. So if you go to github.com/Lou-Lazarovich, and you'll find a repo in there called wine. So let me just quickly pop in the link into the chat. So if you go in there, what you will see is we've got like description of, talking about the data and all that things. And if you remember from week 1, this was a long time ago, we looked at the data and we've imported a bunch of stuff. So what I can do is if I bring up the browser, we can have a look at what we've got so far. But we imported like the wine, we did some work to try and extract the year from the wine title. We've done a bunch of stuff, so probably schema. So we've done a number of things to explore the data. But the one thing, so you see a look at the wine, we've got the winery, so we did some work with the winery, the province, country, we've got the taster, so we'll come to the taster in a second. We've got the variety, did a lot of work around variety name, and this is how we could figure out what grapes in a red blend and that kind of thing. So we've done all this data, but we've still got a few bits of data we haven't yet imported. We've sort of been leaving them. And one of the bits of data that we've not imported yet is the points, the review. So if you remember what we had, so we had a look, so we had the taster names, we've got a number of tasters in here. And some of them have got Twitter handles. We didn't import the Twitter handles, but maybe for a bit of fun we can do that, and we can go and have a look at what they post on Twitter. That'll be for another day. But we've got the Twitter, but we've also got the reviewer and what point. So what do they score a given wine? And we've not done that yet. We've not imported those scores. So if we remember when as week 1 was it? When we were thinking about, or week 2 even, when we were thinking about what might be our initial data model. So obviously we've had a few changes along the way, but this was the one that we kind of put together when we were thinking about all the different attributes that we had. And one thing that we thought about, and we weren't sort of completely wedded to this idea, but we had this idea, we've got wine. Great, that's the wine's effectively the centre of our universe with this data model, because all the questions we ask are related about wine. But we also had the taster, so this is the person who reviewed that wine, and we very just quickly just said, hey, we'll stick the points, the review they gave for that wine as a property on rates wine. But we didn't import that data. So if I quickly bring up this, I don't think we imported it. So if I just pull a sample, so what you can do is if you click on the side menu here, you've got nodes and you've got relationships. And what I can do is if I click on, we want rates wine, I think what we did was just did a connection. So just had a quick question, is this recorded? Yes, this is recorded. What you will find is if you go to, actually, the best place to go to, if you go to the link I've just put in the GitHub repo, you will find that I've got links to the playlist. I also, when I do the write-ups, I'm sort of a bit disorganised sometimes, but I will put in the link to the video as well. If you go to youtube.com/Near4J, about an hour or so after I finished, you'll see that the video's up there as well. So it will be available, so don't panic. You can rewatch this and you can watch the previous episodes in all their glory as well. So it's all up there, don't panic. We do have this, so you can have a go at this yourself at your leisure and have a go at the code. So again, you have got the repo, and we'll ping the address of the repo again later on during the session. So what we can do is you can click on these. So here I've clicked on rates 1. So you can see if I do here, we've not put that information in yet. So I think we were trying to decide, because we weren't married to this model just yet. So we thought, well, let's leave it for now, and then we'll come back and update it. And I'm thinking, you know what? Now let's have a play with the ratings. So very quickly, for a bit of fun, let's have a look at our most prolific tasters of wine. I had a quick look earlier and I was quite surprised. So if we come back to our data model, you can remember we've got a wine and then we've got a inbound relationship from taster. So taster rates wine. So let's have a quick look at our tasters. Because if you remember, we've got about 120,000 wines here. And I was expecting lots of tasters, so you're going to be really surprised by this number. So I'm just going to keep quiet. I'm just going to run the query and then you can see what's going on here. So let's do match taster rates wine, and let's have a look at how many tasters we have. I mean, by all means, just for a bit of interactive fun. In the chat, how many tasters do you think we've got? So we've got about 120,000 different wines in this database, in this data set. How many different tasters do you think we have with names on them? So you'll discover we've got one called No Taster, but for a bit of fun, bit of participation, audience participation, how many different tasters do you think we've got in this data set? Oh, we've got one guess of 1,900 tasters. Any more before I run the query? So what this query is going to do is it's going to tell us the name of the taster and how many wines they have. How many wines they've tasted? Got 1,000. Okay. So we've got 1,900, we've got 1,000 wines. And just for a bit more fun before I run the query, because, we're having a bit of fun here. What do you think is the most number of wines a single taster has sampled? I mean, admittedly, they do that thing where they sort of swirl the wine around in their mouth and they spit it out. So, obviously, they're not sitting there and drinking it, otherwise that would probably get quite messy. But any guesses for which taste, the most number of wines a taster here has tasted? I'm going to give you about 10-15 seconds and then we're going to run and find out. Prepare to be surprised. 500. Right, let's do this. Let's run the query. Let's see what happens. So the first thing that surprised me. So we've got no tasters. Let's put these in order. So what was interesting is, and we'll have a look at the data set later, because around 25,000 wines didn't have a taster associated to them. So we'll have another look at the data set as well to see if that's true, because maybe there was some funny stuff going through the thing. But that aside, we've got 19 named tasters. So we've got 120,000 wines more or less. We've got 19 tasters. But wait to fall off your chair. Roger Voss has tasted 23,000 wines. That's insane. That's a huge number of wines. I was like, wow, that is so much wine. Yeah, exactly. That was my thoughts. That was a lot of wine. So we had an interesting distribution. So it's quite interesting to see. We've kind of got a few, and then we've got some really big numbers of. Even the thousands. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of wine. I mean, wow, that's a lot of wine. So what's really interesting here as an activity is can we use that information, because that we've got a single person, you got some of these groups, you've got a single person and they're tasting so many wines. Can we use that information to infer something about wines being similar or certain taste? I mean, I think that's something down the road would be really interesting to investigate. But that's certainly like, wow, that's a lot of wine. So we've not imported that data. So let's have a think about... Oh, I love that, Alex. That's brilliant. So let's have a look at how we're going to import the data. So the interesting thing here, so if we go back to the data model, so we've got this. So we've got this idea. We've got wine and we've got a taster. So let's, you know what? Let's bring up some of the wines that Roger's been tasting. I'm not bringing back all 27 because that is one dense node. That is a very dense node. So let's bring back some of the wines that Roger has sampled. Let's do name. That was Roger Voss, wasn't it? Roger Voss. Yes, name Roger Voss. I'm going to do with start limit. Let's do 20 because otherwise this is a crazy number of wines. And let's do t.name and let's do the wine dot. Did I call it value or name? I can't remember what I... Well, if we get a set of nulls, we know it wasn't that. Oh, no, because it's W, isn't it? Let's quickly remind ourselves what does wine look like before we go down this path. So, wine's got a title. There we go. Wine has got a title. Right, so let's do W dot title. Let's have a look at some of these wines that Roger's been sampling. Oh, a fair number of French wines here. He obviously likes some French. Oh no, we got a I assume that's going to be a German or Austrian wine of some description, but okay. There's certainly got a lot of French wines going on there. Okay, so if we come back to our data model, so now this becomes really interesting because we've got some really dense relationships here. Let's go back to the post here. We might not want to store them like this. So we need to have a little think about what's going on here. So let's bring up arrows, our trusty friend arrows. I'm just going to do this in incognito in case I've got something in arrows already. So let's do arrows. So so we want to decide how we're going to capture this. So let's write out what we've got now. So we've got wine. Oops. So the title. So we've got wine. Wine's got a reviewer. So I'm just gonna change the direction of this. Reverse and reviews. Why not? Reviewer. Oh, I cannot spell today. Has a name. So at the moment we've got this, and something to bear in mind. I'm just going to anchor my screen a little bit so I'm just not looking at a tiny thing. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Okay, so this is what we've got at the moment. Now just some things to bear in mind as to what's going on. So some of the challenges that we have here is we've got a situation, we've got one reviewer, Roger, who tests a lot of wine, 24,000 wines, and we're going to end up with like 24,000 relationships. So the interesting thing that we've got here is welcome back to Bebes. Thank you. You've joined the wine adventure. You're going to have some fun. So what we've got here is we've effectively got some reviewers, like Roger, who's sampled 24,000 wines. And so we're going to end up with 24,000 relationships. Now, the interesting thing here is something to bear in mind with Neo4j. So you can put indexes and nodes. Now, absolutely, when we talk about index-free adjacency, which is a really powerful thing with Neo4j, it's this idea that when you start at a node, so let's say I'm Roger, and I want to know all of the wines that Roger has sampled, all I need to do is find the Roger node, and then I just follow out all of the relationships from Roger to find all of the wines that he has drunk. Now, the interesting thing here, and this is all going to be driven behind what kind of questions we're looking to ask of our data, is do we really want to go down each of these relationships and then do a property lookup to find out what he's reviewed them as? So let's put this into context. So he's reviewed 24,000 wines. The reviews are between potentially 0 and 99, and actually just for entertainment value, let's see the range of reviews. But the point being, you've only got a maximum of 101 different ratings you can give something. So we now start to ask this question, well, does it make sense if we refactor our data model to capture that? Because it's a bit crazy to have 24,000 relationships if that individual can only give a rating between 0 to 100. So what might make more sense? So let's oh no, we haven't got it in this data. We need to load it first. So we'll have a look at the data in a second. But let's work through an example with arrows. So what might make more sense, because we've only got a maximum of a number of, a maximum of 101 different reviews we can give something. So it probably makes more sense if we slightly restructure how we've done things. So let's pull this one up here. So this is one example. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. So now, let's go up here. There we go. So another option we might want to say is, actually, what would it make more sense if we did something like this? So again, it's I've catapulted myself over to Austria. So we've got wine. So wine's got a title. So let's say this is. I'm gonna be really lazy here. So this is red blend. So let's say we've got a wine and it's got the fancy title of red blend. Sorry. Let's give it a year. Let's be really authentic. Red blend 2015. And let's say we've got another wine. Let's call this one red blend 2016. And let's say we've had our reviewer. Don't want this. We've got our reviewer, so let's reviewer. Let's give our reviewer a name. Let's call it Roger. And maybe we might say, and again, we'll have a think about this and see what makes most sense. And by all means, fire in any feedback. If you've got any questions, let it come. Maybe it would make more sense if we introduced a node in the middle called score. And let's score has a value, and let's say the value's got, I don't know, 8.5. It was a fairly reasonable red. He, would drink again. And let's say actually Roger gave a review. So we've got this. So let's say gave score of score. And then we do something like this. I'm just trying to think what's a... Let's call it... trying to think what's a sensible relationship name here. Not that it matters. Well, it does matter, but you know what I mean. Let's do... wine score. Why not? Let's call it wine score. Okay, so we've got a wine score for these two, and so what we've done here, whereas the equivalent here we would have had two relationships. We still have two relationships, but the slight difference going on here is we're effectively we've put a score into we've created the score as a node rather than a relationship type. So here, what we can do is very quickly group certain wines together. So as an example, if we only wanted to know about all the wines that received a score of 80 and higher as an example, then all we need to do is just find all of the nodes that, score nodes that have got a value of 80 and higher, and then we have a look at all the wines that are connected to them. Whereas what we'd need to do in this example, and this is particularly pertinent when we think about Roger and his very studious attitude towards tasting different wines on our behalves, is we would need to look at all of those relationships. So every single all those 24,000 relationships, we need to go and have a look at them, and we'd need to scan the property in there to see what was the, what was the score on there. Whereas like this, what we're doing is we're going sort of to node. So what we're saying is we're going to node. We're then having a look at looking at all of the values that are 80 and above, and then we can pull them back. So straight away, this is significantly more efficient. We're not having to look through those 24,000 relationships. What we're needing to do is just find the 20, yeah, it'd be 20, wouldn't it? We're just looking at 20 nodes, so score node with value of 80, score node value 81, etc. And then we find all of those nodes, then we go to those relationships. So we're cutting down the number of relationships we need to visit. So that makes it a bit more efficient on that side. So that might be interesting. So let me just quick check. We've got a question. Do we know the date of the score, so we can see if the same reviewer scored several wines in the same day in the same comparison view? I don't think we have that data, unfortunately. Unfortunately we don't have it. We can have a quick peek, but what we do have that might be useful is we do have the we do have the year. So if you remember what we did, so let me just quickly pop back to our data model. So do you remember we did a piece of work? Some of you may have been there, some of you maybe not. But we did a piece of work where we had the wine titles and we had the year in the title, but we didn't have a separate year column in our data. So what we did was we tried to extract that year out, which we did, we succeeded. So what we've got is we've got certain wines from different years. So it could well be that the reviewers reviewing the same wine across different years. So let's have a look at that. So not directly, but we might be able to indirectly have a look at whether they look at different ones. But unfortunately, from a day-to-day or week-to-week, no, we don't have that data. But that's a great great question, great observation, because maybe the palette changes or something happens, and that kind of thing. There's a comment about not being able to hear me. So the only thing I'll say is if you can't hear me, check to see if because I know on Twitch sometimes it mutes the audio, so have a quick look to see whether it's muted the little sound icon thing on the video, because sometimes it does that, so check that. Otherwise, yeah, these are recorded. You'll be able to catch up on our the playlist on YouTube later. So if you have a look, we've got if you go to youtube.com/Neo4j, click on the playlists. There is a playlist there called Adventures with a Wine Data Set, so you'll see all the recordings there. Okay, right, so we've talked about that. We looked at the model, and I mean, looking at this, the only other thing that I don't know, I mean, I'm looking at this and this seems quite reasonable, because the one thing that I was a bit concerned about, if I come back to the post, is so the only thing that was kind of bothering me previously, and yes, so the model has changed a bit from here, so absolutely. So the only thing I was worried about is like, we're going to have a wine, and then we've got a rating, and then we've got a wine, and then the taster, and how are we going to connect the taster to the rating? But I think actually putting that intermediate node probably at the moment feels like a sensible thing to do. But again, as we all know, if we don't like it, we can refactor it and do it again. So what we're going to need to do is, if we have a look at our current state of play with our data, so we've got our wine, we've got our taste at rates wine, we've not got any values in here because we didn't import them. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to bring that data set back in again. So we're going to have a look at the query I ran previously for adding the wine taste, and we're just going to adapt that query. And we're going to effectively break this, we're going to remove this relationship between wine and taster, and we're going to add the intermediary node for the score. So let's have a little bit of fun. Let's explore the data first before we bring any data in. So just going to remind myself where that data is. So let's, excuse me. If I go to manage and let's go into import and let's have a look what we've got in here. Aha, okay, so that is our data. So I'm just going to grab a copy of that and let's go remind ourselves what it looks like. So load CSV with headers from file / that's the name of our file as row, and let's do return row with row limits 5, return row. So let's have a quick reminder of our data. So that's our data. As you can remember, so we've got our values here, and what we could do is so what we can do, we can do some analysis of the file without actually writing anything. So Cypher, let's do that. So let's have a little bit of fun with this. So what I want to know is I want to bring back the points and how often it occurred. So I don't know if we've got any null value for points. I'm not sure. We'll get an error if there is. But let's have a look. Let's do a bit of investigation. So let's return this tinct. I assume you can do this. I've not tried it. I'm sure you can. I mean, in my head, it makes sense. I'm sure it's fine. So let's do points. And we want to return as points. And let's do count. I know I could probably do this in the... No, let's, I don't think I even need to do this, do I? I can do... Is this going to be a bit different because this is in rows? Let's do with. Living life dangerously here. What's the worst that can happen? I don't know, size. This leave will work, or it will throw an error, or it will try and return 100. Oh no, look at that. Okay. Now that's really interesting. Look, we've only returned 21 records. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay, so let's just quickly... So what I've... Oh no, it's done that, hasn't it? Let me just quickly... So this is super interesting. Let me tell you what's going on here, and then for those of you wondering why I'm getting so excited. So what I'm basically doing this query, so I'm not calling anything in the database. What I'm doing is I'm loading up our wine data. So remember, we've got about 120,000 wines in here. And so what I'm doing is I'm loading up that data set of wine, that CSV that we've got. And what I'm saying here is if we remember what we've got in here, so you remember we've got the data, so we've got, like, you know, the country, the taster. Look, it's Roger reviewing one of the 24,000 wines. And we've got this score. So you've got the score that the reviewer has provided. And remember how I was talking about how we've got some tasters who've tasted like several thousand, tens of thousands of wines. And we didn't want to look through each single relationship to see the property. And maybe it makes more sense to bring that relationship back as a have it as a score. So have a score node specifically for that label, and a score for that label. And we have a maximum of maybe 101, so from 0 to 100 rating. So what I wanted to do was just have a quick look to see what was the range of the scores. And it turns out, so this is what we're doing. So I'm not loading any data in database. What I'm doing here is I'm just referring to that file. So what I'm saying here is to integer, and the only reason I'm to integering the points is so that I can sort them in ascending order. So we can see, from lowest score to highest score. And this collect is basically saying, and then collect the number of points that is the same as that point. So effectively counting how often was that score given, and then we're returning the point score and the size of that collection. So how many things had that score, and we're ordering by point. So that's what's going on there. And the really interesting thing is we've only got 21 records. So there's only 21 scores. So the lowest score a wine was given was 80. So 80, 81, 82, all the way up to 100. So some wines actually got 100 points. So that's fascinating. So, I mean, as somebody, have we got enough? How many? Does this add up to about 120,000? Let's have a quick peek. Let's have a look. So we've got, let's quick dodgy maths. So we've got about 10,000, 20, 30, 45, 55, 70, 85, 95. Okay, no, it's about 120,000 wines we've got there. So, okay, so I don't know about you, but me as a wine drinker, the fact that no wines ever scored less than 80. Okay, maybe I need to sort of readjust what my scaling system is for scores that wines get. That aside, what's really interesting here is we've only got 21 different buckets for wines. So I think we're going to probably take a slight detour to have a look at which were the 100 wines that scored 100%. But that aside, it seems to make a lot of sense to perhaps group the wines by these buckets, because now we can eat. This is a great example of where, yes, it's a discrete, it's a sort of a continuous scale, but because we've only got 21 points in a data set, this to me absolutely screams that it makes sense to go with this approach to import the data. So hopefully it makes sense. So let's have a go at importing that data and let's get those scores in. But firstly, what are these 100 wines? What are these wines that got 100 points? I need to know this. This is highly important. Highly important information. So what we're going to do is, we'll keep this row.title as title, where row.points equals 100, and we're going to return the wine title. Should we return the name of the reviewer as well? I think we should do that, shouldn't we? And are they down as reviewer? Taster name. Let's have a look at this. Let's look at these 100% wines. Okay, so null, so it just means we've got some tasters that don't have names. So if you remember we had tasters with no names, then that's what happened. They were null values, so we didn't give them a name. So these are the 19 100%ers. Did we have prices as well? Let's have a quick look. I think some of these had prices. Price. Oh yes, let's bring back the price as well. Maybe some of these 100%ers are priceless. So let's do row.price as price. Title, price and taster. Right, so quick questions come up. Are the points continuous? Seems that they're all added up as integers. Right, so I think what normally happens when they're reviewing wines is you give a wine a score out of 100. So I don't think they ever tend to do like a 95.5 or something. It'll always be an integer. So when I mean continuous, what I mean is, if you normally think about numbers when you're giving something, saying you've got a score, you sort of think you've got this long range of numbers. So I sort of think of it as like a continuous thing. So maybe I've not used the correct terminology for that. But what I'm trying to point at is you wouldn't naturally think of something like when you've got a range of numbers, you wouldn't naturally think, hey, I'm going to take that and I'm going to create it as a node, and I'm going to have a node with this value. But what I'm trying to hint at here is, again, it's driven by what question you're looking to answer. But the fact that we've got 120,000 different wines, but those 120,000 different wines only get us, have only a maximum of there's only 21 different ways that those wines were scored. That feels like a sensible thing to do, to go away and create that as a node and group them together. So that's what I'm trying to highlight. Now let's do a different example of this. So let's say we had, I'm just contriving an example here, but let's say, for example, we had some algorithm they were running, or some kind of model, and we were trying to take these 120,000 different wines, and we were trying to say we had some thing that we ran, and it gave us a score of how similar each of these different wines were related to each other. And let's say that score ran into 5 decimal places. Then you're going, well, actually, you probably wouldn't take that, because that's, you've got this continuous range of different values. They're not particularly from breadcrumb, they're not sort of discrete values that you'd obviously point to. However, in that example, if you were quite keen in trying to bucket how wines were similar, you might say, well, actually, what would make sense here is, yes, I've got 2 wines. I've got one wine that scored at 81.12345 similarity, and I've got another one which is 82.12345. I wouldn't go off and create those, but what might make sense is I might create these buckets that are scores from 80 to 89, and then another bucket from 90 to 99. And then you'd group them together. So that's what I mean. It's just that these are obvious points. We've got 21 different points for a large group. I'm going, yep, I'm going to attach that to node. So that's what's going on there. So hopefully that makes sense. So let's have a look at bringing some data in. Okay, so I'm going to go and remind myself, because this is the dream, documenting stuff. Then I look it up. It's great. So let's have a look at how I imported the reviewers to begin with. So this was when I did the wineries, so that's fine. Then we did the provinces. Aha, we got the taster. So what did we do for taster? So we did so what we did a number of these at the same time. So we did the taster, we did a merge, and then we connected things. So this is when we were creating the nodes, and then we would have had something when we then connected the wine to the taster. And this was quite convoluted. What makes more sense now is to use coalesce. So what we're going to do is, we know we've got the taster, and we've got the wine. So what we'll do is, it probably makes sense if we go back to our data. I didn't mean to do that. Never mind. It's all good. So what we're probably going to do is, we used the assumption previously that the wine title is unique. So we're saying that's each one of those, that's a unique thing. So that's how we're going to find the wine. We're using the assumption that the taster is also unique. So we're going to pull that. I'm not going to bother with any of the tasters that are null. Let's just leave those, because we'll leave it for now. We can always re-import that data if we later on down the line we think that's useful. So let's do our load CSV again. So load CSV with headers from. Oh, it's still in there. Lovely. That's row. And then what we're going to do is, with row where row.taster name is not equal to null. I think it's just empty. Yeah, so rate's not equal to null, so we're just going to skip all those empty ones. We're not worried about those. Then we're going to do we probably want to disconnect the we'll disconnect it in a second, but let's do match to taster name, and that's going to be row.taster name. We're going to match the wine. Oh, it's title, wasn't it? Title, and we called it row.title. We probably want the price. Did we run the price query? I forgot. Oh, I got distracted. Let's put the price in as well. Yeah, let's put the price in. I think we should, because that might be some interesting information. So matching the taster, we're matching the wine, and then what we're going to do is we're going to create a relationship between them. So we're going to merge the nodes. So let's do actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to come back on this in a second. We're going to create the nodes, but because we know the range is from 80 to 100, there's no point in merging the nodes because we know what they are. So I'm going to do query up in a second. So bear with me 1 second. It'll all make sense in a second. So let's do match score. We'll create this node in a second. And it's going to be value is going to be to integer, and then that's going to be our row.score, I believe was what it was called. That was points. I should probably call that points. You know what, let's not confuse ourselves. Let's call it points. Points. Oopsie daisy. Points, and then what we're going to do is we are going to merge the taster to the points and then wine to the points. So we will not merge, create. So let's do create. We said I'm gonna change this slightly and do wine has score. That's going to have the score, and then we're going to say create score gave score. Let's do that. That seems sensible, and I shall update the data model accordingly that we have. Or gave points. Oh, sorry, I'm doing it already. I'm causing mass confusion. Oh, so riddle me this. Should it be point or points? This wine got this. You never say this wine got this point. You say this wine got this point. So I'm going to stick with points, and you can correct it later if it causes mass confusion. So that's the taster. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for the logic. Now we need to create some score points, and this is probably okay. He's complaining because this doesn't well. Because it needs to add an index, and we actually don't have this node to begin with, but that's okay. We're going to correct that shortly. So what we're going to do is I'm going to copy this just in case I accidentally run this query, and the universe as we know it comes to an end. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a range query. So just go to. I'll just quickly remind myself. Oh, let me just quickly remind myself of the syntax for that. So let's do range in the FJ. And start and stop. So, oh, perfect. Yeah, that's nice. That's what we're gonna do. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do with range 80 to 100 because that's what we knew. as points, because we know those are different things that we have available to us. So we're going to do create points, and that's going to be value points. And that's going to go off and create our nodes. Now, we've only got 21 of these. We could put an index in. I can't imagine this is going to have a detrimental impact with just 21 nodes, but so we'll just leave it for now and you know what, let's do it. Go on. Actually, no, I'm going to leave it, and if it's terrible performance, then we can change it. I really can't imagine 21 nodes with the same type label is going to cause problems. So that's going to go off and create our nodes for us. So let's run that. Okay, that's not what. Oh, you know what I've done? I'll tell you what I've done. I forgot to unwind it. I'll show you what's going on, and then you'll see what's happened there. So let's do match p points, attach, delete p. So what I've done wrong is if I return, so I need to unwind this because this is creating an array. So if I do return points, then it's going to give me this. So I need to unwind it first. So that's what went wrong. So let's quickly correct that. And let's do this, and then this is going to give us 21 shiny new nodes. There we go. Right, now time to do this. So as I've described before, we've got this. So we've created our points node, look them up, add them and all that. So let's press the big play button and see what happens. Hopefully it shouldn't take too long. If it does, we can do things to make it go faster. That's not a problem at all. What we can do is we can split out that query. So we'll give that a moment. So if you've got any questions, fire away. So I'm probably going to stop this because it should have done it by now. So I'm going to just rewrite this query because this should be pretty fast. It should have loaded within like milliseconds. So let's, I'm just going to split out this query. So what we're going to do is, let's start with taster to score to wine. Let's do score to wine to begin with. Okay. So let's just double check this. Where row taste name is not equal to null. Match the wine. Match the score. Create wine has points. And that should be pretty damn quick. Oh no, okay, this is where it leaves me wondering what's gone wrong. Okay, you know what, let's can that again. I called it value, called it points. Right, let's see what's going on here. Oh, you know what I've done? Oh no, I did it right. I gave it a value, so that's fine. That's fine. Okay, right, so let's do this. I will be surprised if it makes a difference, but you never know. Hello, Jason. Match wine, match points, create has points. Let's see what happens. I might need to do I might need to periodically iterate that. Periodic commit. Alright, let's do that. And I think it... Let's have a look. I don't know. You're on YouTube. I'm not sure how you move the chat window to right, I'm afraid. This... I'm intrigued as to why this is taking so long. I feel like it should be a lot quicker. So this normally indicates I've done something a bit silly. So let's do a little bit of investigating to see what's gone wrong. So... let's scroll back to the data model. So wine is title, so I got that. Taster we said was name. Yep, taster is name. Points is value, so we've just done that. That or my memory is failing me, and it took a bit longer than expected. But it's not a particularly large file, so it should have done this by now. Let's have a look at what's going on. So I'm going to kill this because this is a little bit suspicious to me. So this is most likely a user error going on. So let's I'm going to stop being lazy. So let's have a quick peek at the first part of the query. So let's just see what's going on. Return count row. So how many rows do we have where there is no taster note? So let's see how long that takes. Okay, so that's fine. That makes sense. We said there was around 25,000 rows with no wine in there. So we do have the situation where we did have some duplicate wines, but that's okay because yeah, so we do have some duplicate wines in there. So let's split out the query, and we can always get rid of this stuff and put it back in again afterwards. So right, I'm gonna do it one bit at a time. So let's do wine to score to begin with. And so we find the wine, we find the score, and we create the relationship between the two. So we know we've got some duplicate here, so I'm going to change this to merge. Although we can do this, no, let's do this. This should be fine. Actually, let's do this to begin with to just see, because this should be the fastest option. And otherwise I might have to do some investigation and see what's going on here. Why is it taking longer than I remember it taking? There will be something obvious. Okay. I'm going to refer back to where I documented how long things took me to run. Ah yes, good old, there you go. Week 3 when I forgot to check I set the indexes correctly. And how long did it take? I think it took a few seconds, so let's see let's do a bit of digging, because that seems very odd. Let's do the first 10 and let's see what's going on. We can get rid of this. Yeah, there's something very suspicious going on here, because that should have been like that. So let's do a bit of investigating to see what's gone wrong. So I'm going to stop that. And let's do... Let's return the wine. Okay, so that's come 2.6 seconds. Okay, so maybe it is something that's taking a long time to run. So I guess the question here is why? What's taking it so long? So if I do 20, okay, so maybe we just need to leave it, be patient and leave it to run. Yeah, so it took 6 seconds. Maybe it's just a long running query and there is nothing wrong with it. Let's have a look what's going on. Ah, look. Okay, I think we've found the problem here. So we've got an index on wine ID, and I think ID is the row number, if I recall correctly. So that's why it's taking so long. There you go. It's something to do with indexes. We checked and had a look. Okay, right, that's mystery solved. So that's why it was taking so long. But that's fine, because we can do something about that. So let's just have a quick look. What did we call the ID before? I think, did we just... ID. Oh, there you go. That's nice and easy. Right, so we're going to match ID on row ID. We've solved the mystery. It was a bit painful, but you know what? We diagnosed it. It's all good. Okay, so I'm going to be lazy again and try and do this all in one fell swoop again. So taster, wine ID. We should have probably checked the indexes for the... I think we've got So taster's on name, wine was on ID, everything else is fine. Okay, right. This one, this time it's going to be glorious and run quickly. Okay, I'm just going to split it out again. This is fun. You can't cut corners, it seems. Right. Okay, so let's just do our quick check again to make sure everything is behaving as we expect it to behave. So I can get rid of this. I want to match the wine ID, so let's just do, I'll get rid of the taster as well. So return w.title. So last time it took about 6 seconds, didn't it? Oh, look at that. There we go, 49 milliseconds. That's a lot better. Yeah, so what I think's happening to Bibez is I'm being a bit lazy and I'm trying to do 2 creates of the relationships, and I think that's what's making it slower. So if I split it and I just do one at a time, which I can, I was just being lazy, but I'm not going to be lazy. I'm going to do it properly now. I think that will solve the problem. So that's running fine. And if I do the taster as well, and if I return t.name, there you go, that comes back quite quickly. So I'm going to split out the queries, and I think we should see a performance increase if I do it like that. So let's do that. Okay, so, oh no, this is the wrong one ID, and type ID. And let's do wine to taster, because that's what we had previously. And then we'll do the score afterwards. So let's comment those out. So match the taster, match the ID, and we're gonna, oh no, it's the wrong one. That would have ended in tears. Oh, I'm confusing myself, aren't I? No, we want to do, let's do wine to score, and we'll do taster afterwards. So wine to score, match, I'm going to create them. So we're going to have a bunch of duplicate relationships here. So we will need to, let's do it as merge. And then we don't have to deal with the duplicate relationship. Oh, no, I'm going to do it as delete them afterwards. It's probably quicker to delete them afterwards than it is to do the merge. So let's do that. So we're going to find the wine, find the score. We're doing it on the ID because that's what we have the index on, and we're going to do wine has points. That, so right, let's go. 27th time is the charm. Yeah, I could probably increase the periodic commit as well. We can do it for the second one. And whilst we optimistically hope that this one is going to go without any issues, we can get ourselves ready for the next one. So for the next one, so bearing in mind we've done wine to score, what we're going to have to do is we have to, oh no, it's okay. So we're doing wine to score, and then all we need to do is find the wine again and connect. Oh, what's happened? Oh dear. That's exciting. So some of them have gone in. Oh, oh, that's exciting. Right, let's get rid of all that data to begin with. And I'm going to live life dangerously. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of reviewers to... I'm going to get rid of the... whatchamacallit? It's pretty easy if I just show you and then you see what I mean. What I'm going to do, I'm going to live life dangerously because we've decided we're going to change how this is modelled. So I'm going to remove taster off of wine. So I'm going to get rid of this completely and then I'm going to re-import taster. Actually, no, we're not going to do that. I'm going to get rid of this relationship anyway from rates wine, from taster to wine, because we don't need that anymore. So let's get rid of that. And then we will re-import that. So let's do that, and I'm going to get rid of the new ones that I put in. Now, because there may be some dense stuff going on, we will need to probably use APOC to help us here. So let's do. Which one do I want? So I want a string. And params, I will periodic commit. Okay. So let's do match. So we had wine has score, wasn't it? Wine has score S score. With, let's do our limit, delete R, return, return count star, and I've got parameters, let's limit 10. We have got some dense nodes in there, so let's do that. We don't know how dense they are, so let's do that. Ooh, okay, what have I done wrong here? Have I got them the wrong way around? So we have got wine has points. Look, there you go. I am confusing myself. So it has points. And it's not score, it's points. Okay, right. There we go. So we're going to let that run, and then we're going to do the same job where we had taster gave points. So that's the next one we can line up. So we'll run that after this one's done, and then we're going to start again. So there we go. So that one's sorted that one out. So let's get rid of... Oh, look at that. So it must have succeeded, because it was... Alright, we'll just rerun that query and try again then. Because that would suggest that it did all of them. That's okay, we do it again. How long did it take? Just so... it just threw an error at us. It didn't actually tell us how long it took. That's okay. We'll have another go. And we're going to succeed, and we're going to get those ratings in. And again, any questions, any comments, suggestions, fire them ahead. It's all good. Having done a lot of deleting of stuff, because for those of you who've been following along, we had the description and description words and the variety and variety words and all that stuff. APOC periodic commits sort of becoming like my best friend, because the number of times I have to delete dense nodes and then redo them and then delete them. Oh no, look, see that to me suggests that we had most of the data in there. I'm really sorry about this, but let's give it another go. Come on, let's do this. We are going to succeed. So this suggests that me being lazy worked quite nicely. Well, that's all right. I'm not going to be lazy. I'm going to split them out. We're going to do it. It's going to work. It's all going to be marvellous. So, one moment. Oh, let's make this a bit bigger. Let's live life on the edge. We're going to do them one at a time. So let's start with wine to score. Sorry, wine to point. I must stop calling it score because I'm just going to confuse myself and everybody else. So I'm going to change this to P for points. Okay, so P, P, P. And we are not going to do the tasting. We're going to do wine 2 points to begin with. I'm going to do this as merge. Yes. Let's see how long it takes. Right. Okay. Let's do this. Let's. Oh, I win a prize. Excellent. Right, so that's adding, or we'll be adding wine has points. And you know what? I just realised something. I don't need to do. Oh, sorry, just a quick point. 15.5 seconds. That's why I was like, why is it taking so long? So it's all good. We're sorted. I just realised something. We don't need to do a merge because we did do a piece of cleaning previously where we got rid of the duplicate wine. So I can actually go back to create and it'll be, so I don't need this. I just realised we can just do create here because we removed the dupes. So we'll worry about that later. Let's worry about getting the points to taster. So we're going to match the taster. We still need to match the wine because what we've got to do now is we need to find the wine that the taster tasted that's connected to this. So, oh my goodness, this is let's figure this one out. Maybe I should have done this all in one go. Oh, this is going to be a bit of a headache, isn't it? Maybe we'll go back to doing it lazy. So we're going through, we match the wine. We get the wine ID, and then we know. Oh no, it doesn't matter. No, we don't need to. Let's step through this logically. If we look back at the model, so what we've done is we have connected wine to score. So what we need to do now is connect the reviewer to the score. And so we don't care how many times, because there's only ever going to be one relationship between. There's only ever going to be one. Oh, I've just spotted a mistake here. Sorry, everybody. You're going to have to. I'm going to have to seek your forgiveness because I've made a cardinal error. And let me just explain what I've done, and you'll see what I mean. So we had another. I'm going to pick another reviewer. Let's say they're called Sarah. What I've inadvertently done is this. Yes, please. Ask your questions. Ask away. I am keen to hear your questions. So what I've done is this accidentally. Let me show you what's going on. So what I've done is this. Now the problem that we have here is I've only created 21 scores. Now we've got, what was it, 19 reviewers? That we had 19 named reviewers. And the slight problem is how are we going to know whether it was Sarah or Roger that gave the score of 85 to Red Blend 2015 and Red Blend 2016? So I'm going to have to delete all those scores and rejig it. So bear with me, I'm going to do that. So I've got a quick question. What tool am I using? So this is arrows. So let me pop the post. Let me give you the link of arrows in the chat. So that's coming over now. And so arrows is a diagramming tool which my colleague Alistair Jones put together. And this is an example of the tool which is we use a lot of. So there is a library you can use if you want to create diagrams for your, for your various graph things that you're doing. But you've got this specific one here, and you've just had the link posted in. And this is a really handy way to just quickly model out and draw out what you're doing. So that's what I'm using here. So if you go to the wine repo, so I'll post a link for that in a second, you'll find links and things as well of how I've used it and drawn diagrams. So that's what I'm using. Okay, so this is what's gone here. So we're going to have to go off and recreate this again. So I do apologise. I'm sorry. So let's figure out how we're going to do this. Yes, no, this is it's so Raj, this is a super lightweight tool, but it's super useful for just quickly drawing diagrams and things. I use it a lot for that, so have a go with it, have some fun. And we do have, if you go into our YouTube channel, so if you go to youtube.com/near4j, and if you just search for arrows, you'll find some example videos of how we use it, and we've got a developer guide on it as well. So let me quickly dig out developer guide whilst we are here. So let's do a Near4j arrows developer guide, and this should hopefully, oh look at that. So if you Google that, then you get a couple of videos. You've got getting started and some tips and tricks. And if I just grab this link, and I shall, oh, that's a browser guide. No, we don't want that. What's this? So we've got a nice little there you go. So so here's this might be useful, and let me get you another couple of links. Copy link address. There you go. So check those out, and hopefully those will be helpful. Okay, so we've come back to this, so let's solve this problem, because we want to know the specific people that have given scores. So I do apologise about that, but that's okay, because we can do this again. We know what we're doing. It's all good. So let's painfully and with much regret, let's remove those relationships that we've just put in. And we probably let's think how we're going to do this. So what we probably want to do for each, what we'll do is we're going to go through each of the named tasters that we've got. So we're going to do that. So step 1, find all of the named tasters that we've got. Step 2, we're going to create the score nodes for them. And in step 3, we can then navigate to score node that matches and then join it in. So let's do that. I think that's what we're going to do. So let's first delete. Using my good friend APOC periodic commits, we're going to get rid of all of those scores we put in hazard points. That's the one we added. Let's do that. What did I do? What mistake did I make? Hazard points. It's probably, you know what, it's you know what I've done wrong. It's because it's not taster, it's wine. Oops. Right, let's remove those and we shall start again. So we know that's going to be relatively quick. So we're going to get rid of all of the points nodes. We should get rid of that. Right, so we need to find all our tasters that are not no name. So let's remind ourselves of our tasters. So let's do match t taster. Turn t.name order by t.name. So I think we called it no name. No taster. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to I've got a fluff on. Right, so we're going to reuse our range query, so let's start with, whoops. So I'm going to reuse that because that was useful. We're then going to match t-taster where t.name is not equal to no taster, so we want to ignore that, so we want to get the other 19. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create p points and gave points t. Okay. So what's happening here is, I've got to give it a value. That would have been fatal. Value colon point. And so what we're doing here is same thing as before. So we're generating our 21 different points because we know that's the range that we have. We're then matching all the tasters that have a name. So we have one called no name. So we're ignoring no name. And then we're creating the points node. Giving it the value from that range, and then we are attaching it to the taster. So this is how we're mapping the tasters to the points. So it should run smoothly, hopefully. So we made 400. That sounds about right. 20. Oh my goodness. 21 times 19. Oh, gone. I'm sorry. My maths is terrible. So 21 times 19. Yeah, 399. There we go. Look, everything's as expected. So right, we've created our tasters and we've now attached them to our nodes. Brilliant. So we're now going to go back and use the query that we had before. I'm just going to grab a copy of that so I can write it up so you can all refer to that later at your leisure. And okay, so we've got our score. So we do need to bring in the author because of the thing that we're trying to do. So let's do it all together. So matching points. So this bit here is going to be match t-taster, and then we said gave points, didn't they? So do gave. What's going on here? Not sure why it's not. Oh, actually, this is even better. I just realised this is massively simplified things because we don't need to do two paths because we've already connected taster to the points. So all we need to do is just find that and then just attach it to the wine. So we then look for the point and connect them. So actually, this is great. This has suddenly become a lot simpler. So to integer. And it was row.points. Okay, so match taster gave points, and then we're matching the wine, and then this we don't need, and then we're saying create has points is what we want. So wine has points P. So let's just double check this. So okay, what are we doing here? So we're loading it. Only the wines that don't have a name. We're matching the taster name. And we want to give points because we created that just a moment ago. So taster gave points. We're mapping it to integer. Then we're also matching the wine, and then we are creating the relationship of wine has points. There we go. Right, we got there in the end. We spotted a little issue with the data model. It's all good. We got there in the end. So let's run that, and I think. Oh no, what went wrong? That's all right. It'll be syntax. It's all good. What did I do? So this is I've probably done something wrong here with the syntax, which is why it wouldn't auto prompt me. It wouldn't auto prompt me what I was doing. So let's just double check what's going wrong here. So match T taster name is row.taster name. That's fine. Gave points. P points, integer that. Match the wine. Look what I've done here. There we go. Value. That's what I'm missing. That's where it's complaining. Alright, okay. Right, there we go. We've done. So let's have a look what's happened. Should we have a look at our 100 most rated wine? Sorry, the wines that received 100%. So let's do. So bearing in mind we're going to have several points nodes that have got 100. So let's do match points value 100. We want the taster as well. So let's do. So it was points, taster, and the wine, wasn't it? So let's do. Oh, we can expand it out, can't we? So let's do this. We could have probably done this in blue. Return P. Now we are potentially returning up to 19 points nodes. So don't be surprised. So maybe there's something we can do to adapt our model where we link them together. Alright, we've got 100. Oh no, 19 nodes. That's what we're expecting. So remember we've got that. So what we can do for cleanup, maybe we can do this now, maybe we can do it later. But bearing in mind that not all of the tasters will have scored the wine for 100 points. So what we can do is let's do this. So match P points. Let's bring some stuff back. Oops. And we want to P gave points, T taster, and let's return everything. Return star. So this is going to return all of the wines that scored 100 points. So what you'll notice is not all of the wines. So let's make this a bit bigger, and I'm going to give this some colour as well because it's a bit difficult to see what's going on. So what you'll see is only And let's just put title. That's better. Right, so look at this. So not only does Roger drink a lot of wine, Roger also is the most generous with his scoring. Oh, actually, no, it's not generous. I don't think that's a fair assumption to make. He's tasted a lot of wine, so it's quite likely a lot of the wines he's tasted score 100%. I was doing Roger a disservice there. So what you can see here is we've only actually got 4 wines that, 4 tasters that scored wines 100 points. So what we'll do is we'll do a clean up, and we're going to get rid of some of those points nodes that don't have any wines attached to them. But that's not a worry for now. But you can see here. So there we go. So we can see. It's probably quite small. So let me just drag these a little bit closer to each other, and then I can zoom in a bit. So you can see here. You can nicely see which wines got 100 points and who scored them, who gave them the score. And I just realised we forgot to put in the prices for those wines, so we'll add it later. But you can see now, so there we go, so we've got the scores in. So I'm trying to think, what interesting thing can we do? So we've gone to the effort of putting the scores in. So, I know, let's bring back the grape varieties that are in there, because remember we did that piece of work, we've got the grape variety. So let me quickly bring up the data model so you can see what's going on. Oh no, I wanted that one. Okay, that's alright. I just put it again. It's all good. There we go. I started colouring my the model, but this makes it a bit bigger. Okay, so do you remember? For those of you who joined along, if not, if you're wondering what is this, don't worry, you can follow through all of that. So let me just pop in the link so you can see. So it's all in here. So if you are curious as to what I'm talking about, varieties, we did a bit of work a few weeks ago where we pulled out the variety name so that we could figure out what varieties we had in the wine in groups. And this was really good, where we had some wines that were like red blend or white blend, so you can read all about it there. So what would be really fun actually is let's see what varieties of grape we had with the with those wines that scored 100%. So let's do that. I think that's a bit of fun. So what was the magic combination? So we've got that. So what we need to do as well. So we've got the points. We've got the wine. So wine has got a variety. So I think it has variety. Let's start off with variety to begin with, and then we can always get the specific grapes out. And what we can do is we can return the wine name and the variety. I think we called it variety type. If it says null, then we know its name. Let's have a look. Nope, it must be name or value. Let's check. Let's. I'm not going to guess. So let's do variety, and we called it name. Okay, so we used name. So let's do v.name, and let's get the reviewer's name as well, because I think that's quite useful. So the reviewer's name. So let's do this so we can see what's going on. So viewer. And rename. Okay, there we go. So at least we'll make it look a bit pretty when we pull out this data. Oh, okay. Let's sort these. I'm going to sort these by grape variety actually. Oh. Can we try to identify the wines the tasters agree on 100% score, please, and the price? So price, I need to import the price. I haven't done that, so maybe we'll do that quickly. Unfortunately, we don't have the same wine that's been reviewed by different reviewers, so we can't do that. But what maybe we can have a bit of fun with is if we have a look at the grape variety. So maybe we can find out, are there certain grape varieties that score best? In fact, we can have a go at doing that now and see if there's some kind of a distribution, so we can have a bit of fun with that. But no, unfortunately, no, we don't have. That was one of the things I was really looking forward to. I was like going, yes, come on, they're gonna have a wine that multiple reviewers have reviewed, and we can see that, like, you know, one person's like reviewed it at like 100, another reviewer's gone, that's rubbish, I gave it like 30. But no, unfortunately it is a one-to-one mapping between the wine and the reviewer, so we can't see any reviewers knocking any of the wines, alas. But there's things we can do to have a play with it. We might be able to do it by we'll have a look. So what we do have, maybe we can have a quick peek now, is if I bring up this isn't an accurate data model, but you kind of get the idea. So what we do have here, let me see if I can make this a bit bigger. So what we have done is we've got winery, actually let me get a newer data model. Because what we've done as well, which might be interesting, so we can do a quick query in a second, is we did a bit of work where we separated do I have the data model here? Let's bring it up in browser. So something we did do a few weeks ago, and we haven't done much with it, but there we go. So what we did is when we got the title, we got the wine. So the wine, so here's our wine. Unfortunately, it's in, I don't know why it does that, but anyway. So you got the wine there, and we only had the title for the wine, and the title would be something like, I don't know, Chateau Vinery, Sauvignon Blanc 2015 or something like that. And so I'm going to pick a more simple name. So let's say we had Red Blend 2015, Red Blend 2016, Red Blend 2017. So we didn't have this situation we had Red Blend and then a separate column for the year. We just had the title. So we did a piece of work where we removed the year off of the wine. So this is where we've got this. We've got the wine, and then this is where we've got this thing here that says wine group. So wine group here would be then, say, Red Blend, and then the year would be 2015, 2016, and so forth. So we did that, and again, we're probably going to rejig this model slightly because I don't quite like how they come off like that. It's not easy to query, but nevertheless, we have done that split. And what we might find is that actually we have reviewers who have reviewed different years of that wine. So that's something we can look at. So we can certainly see how we've got different reviewers who have reviewed the same type of wine but with different years. The other thing that might be of interest is we've got a winery as well. So some wines, unfortunately, it's just a one-to-one mapping between the wine and the winery. But there are some wineries that produce lots and lots of wine. And what might be fun is to have a look if we can find reviewers who have reviewed different wines from the same winery. And we can see, is there a massive delta with the scores between reviewers and what they've scored. So we can have a look at that as well. The one thing that makes me a little bit concerned about how much fun we can have it is that we've only got 19 named reviewers, so I don't know what the crossover is going to be like, but this is the fun. We explore that and we have a look. Okay, so what did we do? So we had a look at our wine blends. So what's interesting is we keep having this blend. So let's let's do one more thing that I like doing, because if you have a look, we only have I bet we're going to find this thing where the reviewers favour a certain blend. Oh, do we want to have a bit of fun with this? I'm so tempted. Let's have a look. But anyway, so if we have a look, ooh, what's going on here? Because I did a sort of, let's make it a bit bigger. So what's interesting here is A lot of blends. A lot of blends. There's only a few of them, like here, Chardonnay, Muscat, Sangiovese, Syrah. There's only a few of them that they've got a specific blend. The rest of these are blends. So and this is from a few weeks ago where we could use the description to find what the grapes were. Let's try and fill the gaps, and I think we're going to perhaps leave it there for this week. You can easily see how you can spend a lot of time having fun with this. So let me go back to the data model. I'm just going to pin it because we'll keep coming back to this data model. So it probably makes sense if we keep it somewhere easy to... Oh, I closed it, didn't I? Let's bring it back up again. Okay, and I'm just going to pin this so I don't keep losing it. So what we did is we did this really cool thing where we looked in the description to find the variety name. So we used variety name as reference data to go through the description so we could then figure out what were the grapes within the red blend. So let's do an extension of that now for these wines. So I'm just going to quickly just remind myself what was the query that we used for that, and I'm just going to modify it rather than rewriting it. So let's have a look. Oh, where is? Oh, here we go. This was a very exciting week for me. I found this was pretty cool. So this is what we did previously. So I'm just going to copy this query over and let me talk through what's happening. For those of you wondering, what am I talking about? Let me just bring up that query because we're probably going to be using that. So let me talk through this query up here, what's going on. So what we did was, if we have a look at, actually let me zoom back out again of this. So if we go back to the previous query, you'll notice some of these have got the wines in there. So like Muscat, the grapes, Muscat, Sangiovese, Syrah, etc. But a lot of these under the grape variety just say blend. So red blend. You know, what grapes do we have in there? I mean, admittedly, Bordeaux style probably has very specific grapes that tend to get used. But what we can do, which was really fun, is we did the grape variety. So we did variety, and then what we did was we tokenized variety. So we've got a thing called variety name. So when I say tokenized, what we did was we split everything by space and by a hyphen. We used Levenstein, you used Levenstein similarity to map similar words together, and we cleaned that up. So what we did was we effectively created a list of a list of all the different grape varieties that we had in our data. Then what we did was we then went to the description. So all of the wines have got description. So this here says Bordeaux style red blend, but in the description it might tell you what were the varieties. So what we did was we then used the variety names as reference data to then hunt through the description of that wine to pull out what were the grape names. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify this query so that we can figure out what were the grapes in these grape blends. And I've got a comment here, you might be able to do some interesting things if you expand the node to wines that have a range point. Yes, so let's start with 100, because we know we've only got about 11 wines for that. And then afterwards, we'll expand it out. So we go from 97 to 100. And yes, might start looking at some wines to keep an eye out for in the next time I go wine shopping. So let's just quickly pull the blends. I'm just going to modify this query. So match variety name. So we need to get the wine description. So matching the points has wine variety. We've got wine, so we probably also want to match wine has description. Did we call it description? Oh look, I've got it here right in front of me. Yes, we did call it description. Has description the description. Okay, so we've got all of this stuff. So let's do this. So match. Whoa! Okay, is that what I did? Oh, I have been playing with the description words. I don't know if I've inadvertently deleted some of them. Let me have a quick peek. Was I destructive in my great editing? Oh, I pinned this to the top, didn't I? Oh no, description word's still in there. Excellent. Okay, so let's see how we can modify this. Alright, so let's copy that. Is description word. Is description word DW. Okay, so let's see how this works. I'm just going to put these onto new lines so we can see what's going on. Make it a bit neater. I'll get rid of that for now. So, okay, so matching script. So match 3 points. Wine, get the variety. We're going to get the points. We're doing it over 100, so we're matching those ones. We're going to get the taster. We're matching the wine. Everyone's get description. It has description word DW. So we're using the DW that we've mapped. So hopefully we might not get all the wines back, but we should be able to see what the grapes are. So we've got grape variety, and I'm just going to now add in the grapes. So let's do DW dot value as grapes. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's this might be a bit of a slow query. I apologise in advance. Oh no! Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put in a collect. Hang on. Because we don't want them all in a separate line. So this isn't going to be perfect, but you'll kind of get the idea of what's going on here. Ah, yeah, look at that. So, just to recap what I've done, I'm basically using work I've done previously where I tokenized some of the wines that did give what the grapes were, and then using that information to then go into the description of the existing wine that has something like red blend in it, and then I'm getting it to tell us what the grapes were. So it doesn't work for everything, but it does work for something. So for example here, for this one, this Bordeaux style red blend, we find out that it's got Cabernet in there. I assume Frank is some wine. I need to look it up. So we know that there's a Cabernet grape in there. And we've got this one here, the Champagne blend. So here we've got a Pinot Noir, we've got Chardonnay. So I think that Champagne traditionally has got the three. I can never remember the three, but it tends to have the two of the three key wines as the blend. So you can see here we're getting some of the things. So we're getting apple, so presumably that's a tasting note. But it kind of works. So let's expand this. So it's a suggestion to do a range from 97 to 100. So let's go crazy. Let's do the big range. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to just slightly modify this query. Because we need to say where p.value is, so we know that the maximum is 100, so I'm going to say greater than 96, so that'll get us 97. So let's see what comes back. We probably want to get the score as well. Wine title, p.value as points. Alright, let's do this. Let's see what happens. We don't need this anymore. I can get rid of this. Oh, look at that. I've not ordered them. It's fine. I'm just going to grab a copy of this query so we can talk about what we did. Alright, there we go. Look, so we've done it. So we have got 171 wines that scored 97 or above. We've got the list, and there we've got. So we've got some interesting ones here. So we probably should have sorted these by something. We've not sorted it, but I think we're sorting it by the grape variety. So what's interesting is there's a lot of Bordeaux. We should have had a look what's the most popular grape variety. But yeah, okay, so we've done that. We don't have much in the way of grapes. We've got a Merlot in one of those, so that's fine. So let's take this a little bit further. So let's update this query slightly, and what we're going to do is have a look at for scores of 97 and above, what's the most popular blend. So let's do that. That's a nice bit of fun. So we don't need the taster. We don't need any of this. So we don't worry about the description. So we are interested in the variety. So let's going to get rid of that as well. So what we want is don't want the title. We want the points. And we want the variety. And we're going to order it by points, I think. And let's do... Don't need that. So what we're going to do here is we are going to, for all the wines, we are going to have a look at what's the most popular blend by point. So do the points descending. So let's have a look. I am intrigued to know. Oh no, I've done this the wrong way around. I need to do a count, don't I? So let's do points, grape variety, and let's do a... Okay, well, I need to just do this. I need to do an intermediary step. So I do with p.value as points. Let's do v.name as, I'm just going to just call it grapes. Collect v.v as frequency. And then let's do this. So let's go, we're going to return points, grapes, and size frec as I can't think of a sensible name. Doesn't matter because we're going to order it by the points. Order by points sending, and then we can get rid of points and then just have a look at what popular. So by points, we can see that Bordeaux Star Red Blend scores 100. So let's roll it up to everything to 96. So we're going to drop the points because we're interested in 97 and above. So let's do grapes, and let's do size frequency as popularity. Well rated. Well. And we don't need points anymore because we don't care about that. We just care about the grape and that. And we're going to order by well rated. Okay, right. So now we're going to see from wine scoring 97 above, what's the most well scored wine. And there we go. Look, so Bordeaux style red, most popular, followed by a distant second of Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. So there we go. Okay, that was really fun. So, wow. Okay. Yeah, the French. The French blend is king. The French one is king. So let's drop this down to above. Let's do 90 and above. I reckon it's still going to be the Bordeaux. I think the Bordeaux is still going to be winning here. Oops. Right, let's do this. Last query of the day. So if there's any other quick queries you want me to have a go at, if there's any questions you want to have answered, speak now, or we'll do it next week. If you think of some ideas you want to have a look at with the wine, drop me a message on Twitter. You can post something on the GitHub repo as well. I can pick it up there as well. I think you can post it as an issue. Leave a comment in YouTube, you know, pick whatever works for you. And yeah, it was really fun actually. So we finally got the ratings in and we had a look of interesting. So what was interesting is we dropped it to above 90, and look at that, the Bordeaux style blends have dropped straight off, and it's the Pinot Noir has shot right up to the top there. That's really cool. Hey, brilliant. Wow. Thank you very much everybody for joining me. So let me just quickly post the repository address again. So here, this is what I'm going to write up. So you may have noticed that I've been taking copies of queries. So I'm going to write up the queries that we've covered and what we've done. You will find it all in the repository there. So give me a few days. I'm going to write that up so you can have a go at all of the stuff that we've been doing in the stream. You can have a go at doing yourselves at your leisure, so everything's recreatable there. So thank you very much once again for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves at this session. I've certainly had a lot of fun. If you've got any questions, I'll hang around on the chat for a few minutes after the stream ends, so ask away. And otherwise, I will... I was going to scroll it up to the top so you can see the thing. Ask away if you've got any questions on the chat. I'll keep an eye on for the next few minutes. Otherwise, I will see you next week. So again, I will be back next week. Again, it'll be 3 p.m. UTC. So work out accordingly. I've got the times as well I put into the art stream channel. So keep an eye out, and I look forward to you all joining me again next week. So have an amazing day and speak to you later. Bye.